Do we know the people who are, causing trouble? First of all, we say that we're in dialogue. We've seen one or two prominent groups, the most prominent of the groups being the Niger Delta Avengers. And a lot of people have wondered whether or not we're actually aware of the identity of those who are behind the group. Do we know who they are?
There's no doubt about the identity of many or most of the perpetrators of some of these acts and the groups. Many of them are coming up for negotiation and for discussions at the political level. That I'm aware is going on. And on our own, we are actually also making deliberate effort to identify the criminals, because this is a mix of criminality and political agitation under the militancy as we know it, and we need to differentiate this, because this is the trend. But I must assure you that the military and indeed the Navy is fully prepared to actually deal with the situation should all the negotiation and the dialogue.
So can
fails.
You tell us, was there any report, was there any merit to the report that came out some days ago as to some former leaders being behind these groups? Are you aware of that?
We have read about that. I will only at this point tell you that we are very much interested with those who are involved at the operational level of the militancy activities. The sponsors, they are under investigation as well.
Have you made any recent arrests?
We have made several arrests. The arrest is still ongoing. Interrogation is ongoing. That I can assure you. And this is part of the deliberate effort that we have put in place in order to avoid unintended collateral effect on the populace.
The way you say you've made arrests and interrogations going on, but this won't be the first time the Navy is making arrests. I mean, some time back, Navy made arrest of some sailors that were caught with a cache of arms. At the end of the day, one wonders what happened to that particular case. So there's still oil bunkering in that area as well, smuggling of crude oil, Nigeria's crude oil, illegally back and forth. And you say you made some arrests. Besides the militants, these are the other things that are bothering Nigeria's coastal areas. And you say the Navy has not gone to sleep.
I can assure you once again that the Navy has not gone to sleep. We are not only tackling it both at the national, local level, but also within the wider Gulf of Guinea. You see, the trend of criminality along that line runs like this. Okay? Take for instance, by 2010, we launched a deliberate operation that was successful, and we were able to rid much of our waters, particularly Lagos area, of maritime criminals. But a few months later, the port of Cotonou in Benin Republic was practically shut down by these criminals who have migrated there. And then the president of Benin came to Nigeria. The result, Nigerian Navy had to go to Benin Republic to go and sort out that problem. And by 2012, we had relative peace in the waters of Cotonou, Benin Republic. But what happened? 2013-14, Togo, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire started having problems. But that in itself also led to a wider arrangement. We launched another deliberate operation, and right now the Economic Community of West African States and the Economic Community of Central African States have seen the need to have a zonal security arrangement to manage this expanding process of criminality. And you also note that we declared some of these criminals wanted recently, and on the pages of in the media, we have made these efforts. We have concretized it into some forms of agreement, operational collaboration and coordination with other navies. These are still ongoing. We are having some significant results from there. We have intelligence exchange arrangement with various organizations, both governmental and non-governmental.
That definitely is, is one very, it's definitely commendable in that particular respect. But we also recall that only in recent times, even in Nigeria, where some success is being made in terms of apprehending those who are involved in illegal bunkering, the Navy has also expressed some amount of frustration with the, with prosecution, with civil prosecution. Are you making progress in that area as well? Is anything changed there?
Yeah, the chain of arrest, detention, and prosecution has actually proved a little bit problematic for some years. But I'm glad to let you know that there's an ongoing process now. All the agencies involved, Customs, Immigrations, NDLEA, EFCC, the police, the Security and Civil Defense, the Ministry of Justice, the Attorney General's Office, and the Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Transport, and the MASA, we are all engaged right now in an ongoing effort to develop a common SOP, the standard operating procedure, to manage this process. That is gaining significant traction, and in coming weeks or months.
What are you looking at? What exactly is the process that has been looked at?
Yeah, the process, we make a lot of arrests. How do we handle this? Sometimes we become the guilty in the sense that when you make an arrest and the crew or the ship owner end up taking you to court, and then it's not the issue of the illegal bunkering or the crude oil theft, but rather fundamental human rights.
Okay. Well, about this military action, there's been several comments, both from former British Foreign Secretary who did say, well, we have to be cautious, military solution may not be the best. Do you think that military solution will sort this problem out without us having huge number of unintended casualty?
That precisely is what the military top hierarchy has assessed in the past few months, and in conjunction with the higher level traction, we have identified the need to ensure that the dialogue, the political level discussion is exhausted. That in itself does not, however, obviate us from responding and containing the some of the unfortunate and violent acts of the militants, particularly the one we've seen in recent days. Maybe I should use this opportunity to equally advise the various groups to please sheath their sword and please log in to the efforts being made at the political level, advise the communities and the community leaders to toe the same line. By the end of the day, who suffers? It is the communities. Many of the states cannot pay the salaries now. The revenue is dwindling. The oil price itself, it's not really responding as envisaged.
Is there an active engagement by the Navy with the community there without them seeing you being there as only hostile to them?
That's precisely what we have been doing. We have, to some extent, some form of CSR. We have also initiated out some of the communities. The relationship, to the best of the current knowledge, is good in many of these communities. We listen to them, and some of them have been providing useful information to us towards identifying the criminals amongst them. And you may also note that many of the communities are actually traumatized by the presence of some of these few criminals who have taken hold of the peace and security in the various communities, and not that they're actually with them.
So you've come to terms with the fact that there are just a few elements that are causing the troubles in the Niger Delta region. But what other forms of engagement? There was a time you did a medical exercise in the Niger Delta region. Besides that, are your engineers also involved in terms of helping to clean the environment?
As you're aware, there's a program on the environmental protection, that's the cleaning of the polluted areas, and that's a huge task on its own. On our own part, as CSR, we've been trying to provide some amenities, and then we'll be opening our schools, we'll be establishing more schools in those areas, providing medical assistance to some of the communities, and the fact that we have many of our bases and we're expanding within that area also suggests that some of the benefits are shared within those communities. But the bigger picture, as you're aware, the federal government is taking a big step in conjunction with other relevant stakeholders.
When you say you're engaging the community, what age bracket are you engaging? All across, or are you focusing on a particular age bracket?
We are engaged with the community, not specifically on age brackets. For us, that's not our primary mandate. We do that just to make sure we express our intentions to the community. And we also aid those who are mandatorily by statute required to provide such support and other activities related to improving the socioeconomic situation within the Niger Delta.
All right, Rear Admiral Ni Oshino is the Chief of Training and Operations, Naval Headquarters. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Appreciate it.